In the last section, we spoke about how we are properly taking our cache value right here, parsing it from JSON, and then creating a new model instance, but we're not properly handling the case in which this cache value right here is an array of records, as is the case whenever we try to fetch a list of blog posts. So we need to do a little bit of a refactor here to handle both cases properly. I'm going to first start off by deleting this entire line of code altogether. We need to do something slightly differently depending upon whether or not we are attempting to deal with an array of records or a single record. So I'm going to first start off by creating a variable called doc and parsing our cache value, like so. I'm then going to remove the return statement, and then we're going to replace this with a ternary expression instead. So a ternary expression has a first kind of check or a Boolean check of sorts. So we're going to check to see if doc right here is an array or just a simple object. So I'm going to say array.isArray and then pass in doc like so. So if doc is an array of records, then isArray is going to return true. Otherwise, it's going to return false. So then to put our ternary expression in, I'm going to put my question mark, and I'll put down the case in which it's true. So this would be like right here, it's an array, a colon, and the case in which this right here is false. So it's an object. And then obviously we don't actually want these words here. So we're going to replace each of these with a little bit of logic. Now because I expect both these statements right here to have a lot of code related to them, I'm going to new line this just to give myself a little bit of space to work with, like so. So let's deal with the easy case first, the case in which we are dealing with an object. So if we're dealing with an object here, we're going to say new this.model and pass in doc, because that's a plain object and it represents one individual record. However, if we're dealing with an array, which is this case right here, we need to map or iterate over this array of doc, and for every record inside that, we're going to call new this.model, and we're going to return a document instance. So I'm going to say doc.map, and then for every document, which I'm going to abbreviate simply as D, I'm going to say new this.model, and then pass in that particular record, like so. So no matter whether we are working with an array of records or a single record here, this entire ternary expression is going to correctly parse, or we refer to this as hydrate, all those values. Now the last thing we need to do is make sure we return the result of this entire ternary expression. So I'm going to add a return right in front of it like so. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Let's flip on over to our browser and do one more test. So back over inside the browser, I'll refresh the page. And now I properly see my list of blogs appear, and I also appear to be correctly logged into the application as well. Great. So it definitely looks like we've got a working cache set up here. But, there might still be a couple of issues. Let's take a pause right now. We're going to come back to the next video, and I'm going to mention a couple things that we could very easily do to dramatically improve how this caching system works. So I'll see you in just a minute.